defines sexual consent?
Bro.
You said fucking bring it. You told me to bring it.
Well, it's forever changing, isn't it? I think if we're watching this, I think everyone at home knows what rape is. I think everyone at home knows what an actual rape is and how heinous and disgusting that is. And I'm the first person as a masculine man to say that rapists should face the death penalty. I'll say it myself. A woman regretting consensual sex years later is not rape. I think that's cheapening the idea of rape. I think it's insulting to the women who have genuinely been raped. I think to sit and say that rape can now include a woman having a one-night stand, demanding handbags, not getting handbags, being upset that she can't get handbags, still not calling the police, seeing that man buy another woman a handbag a year and a half later, and then deciding it was rape. I think that is extremely insulting to the unfortunate women who have suffered genuine sex crime. I think it's disgusting. I also think that most women and most men know what sexual consent is. I have daughters. I have a lot of daughters and sons, but I want to make something clear, because one of the things that's used against me most often is people say, I said women bear some responsibility for getting raped, which is not what I said. What I said is that we're adults and we must all bear responsibility for the situations we find ourselves in. If a woman is walking her dog in the park and is raped, that's disgusting, and that's not her fault. What I was talking about was a particular scenario in which a woman will go out with a man, get drunk with a man, spend all night with a man, go to the man's house, continue to drink, have sex with the man, then years later decide that it was rape. My argument would be, if you don't want to have sex with a man, do not get drunk with him and do not go lay in his bed. That's my argument. I have daughters, and I would say, do not get drunk with men and lay in their bed if you don't want to have sex with them, ever. Don't do that, because you're going to give the man the impression. Now, I'm not saying the man can rape her. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're putting yourself in a position where rape is more likely to happen. If I decide to walk through the worst area of town with $1 million in cash, yeah, nobody should rob me. You're right. It's a crime to rob me. But am I making myself a robbery target? Am I making myself easy to rob? It would be irresponsible for me to do such a thing. So I think that the best way to protect women in these scenarios is not to do what the feminists are doing, which is to come along and try and create this ideal world. Well, men should know not to rape. We do. We know not to rape. We also know not to kill. And women should know not to lie. But guess what? People are imperfect and people do bad things. So what you have to do is take personal responsibility and protect yourself against the possibility of these things. I think that the reason sexual consent has now become such a hot topic is, yes, there's bad actors doing bad things, of course, men and women. But truthfully, I think a lot of this is happening because we've removed some of the basic societal norms. A woman wouldn't get drunk with a man and go to a man's house and lay in the man's bed and kiss the man and take all her clothes off and then not want to sleep with a man 40 years ago. So the consent line wasn't as blurred because it was, you're not my husband or you're not my boyfriend, I don't want to go anywhere near you. It was a pretty clear line. So then the line had to be jumped over by a predator. But now the line's all messy because of the immorality of people, male and female. So now it's very difficult. Where do you draw the line? What if she gives consent, but she was drunk? That doesn't count. How is the man supposed to know? Is he supposed to get out a blood alcohol measure and make her beep beep? Oh, sorry, your yes doesn't count. The whole line's messed up because morality is destroyed. If you destroy morality, then now there can't be a line. So I can't answer the question. Nobody can. And the law is coming along trying to find the line in all these individual cases, in these huge court cases, trying to find the line where there's no morality at all. I would argue, and I know this is difficult to say, but I'm going to say it. If my daughter came to me and said I was raped, before, on my way to get my gun, I'd say, tell me the story. And if she said, I met a man and I was dating him for many weeks and I went out with him and I started drinking with him and then I went to his house and we continued to drink and it was a party and then we started kissing and I took all my clothes off and then we started having sex and then I decided I didn't want to have sex anymore. I'm like, I can't truthfully shoot this man in the head anymore. Why did you do all of that? Why didn't you just say no? And I'm talking about my own daughter here. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say this without the world having a mental breakdown, because we live in a world now where nothing is nuanced. You can't make a nuanced point. You can't talk about how complicated a subject is. Everyone wants black and white. It's difficult what sexual consent is anymore because when you remove morality, there's no longer a line. I don't know. It's hard. This is why I've settled down with my 11 wives. Because you can't trust anyone. Let's imagine I meet a brand new girl, and let's imagine we have a happy relationship, and let's imagine we're together for 9 months, and let's imagine we have sex 100 times, and let's imagine I don't buy her a BMW. Let's imagine. And let's imagine she texts me and says, I want a BMW, and I say no. And let's imagine she texts me and says, if you don't buy me a BMW, I will go to the police and say you raped me. Let's imagine she admits.
Was she from Peterborough, where I live?
Well, let's imagine she admits via text to the crime. She admits what she's going to do for a car. And I still refuse to buy her a car. When she goes to the police and makes that complaint, I will still be arrested. I will still be demonized in the media. I will still have to go to court. I will still have to go through a trial. I will still spend $3 million in legal fees. Despite her admitting to the fact she is lying for a car, I will still have my reputation decimated. My life will be damaged. I'll be stressed to the max. I'll have legal fees. I'll go through all of this, all because I didn't buy her a car, despite her admitting the crime. Because I'm a man. And even worse, I'm a famous man. And even worse than that, I'm a masculine man. So I'm the enemy of the Matrix. So how can a man even fairly and safely have a relationship anymore? Where is sexual consent? I don't know. I had sex with her 100 times. Was she drunk one of those times? I don't think so. Do I alcohol breath test her every single time? No. She's now saying she was drunk. I'm saying, well, she came over to my house at 11:30 p.m. We went straight to bed. I don't know. I didn't know this. I don't drink. I haven't drunk a drop of alcohol in a year and a half. Yeah, but she was drunk. Prove it. Do you have the blood alcohol test that she was drunk? No, neither do I. But she says she was drunk. So she says the consent isn't real, so you still have to go to a trial. But she admitted she lied for a BMW trial. We have evidence to the contrary because you said on Rob Moore's podcast that women can't park. And that BBC, rapist. Bro, you can't live a life anymore. And the scenario I've just described to you is 100% accurate. So how are you as a man now? You asked me what sexual consent is. I don't know. There is no sexual consent anymore. Let me change my answer. My answer was there's no longer a clear line of sexual consent because of diluted morality. I'm going to change the answer. As a man, there is never consent. Because if it can be snatched from you retrospectively, then you never had it. You never owned it. If I give you something and I can snatch it back off of you at any time, do you own it? No, you're borrowing it. You can borrow consent as long as you never annoy that female at any point in the future ever. Good luck.